Okay, I'm back to talk about the season so far of 90 Day Fiance. To be honest, it's taking a little bit of a turn, not gonna lie. Not expected turns either. Well, for some people. Also for some of the couples I said I wasn't gonna talk about, I am gonna not review their whole shtick, but just like a couple of events that have happened because they're pretty big and it's worth mentioning. Yeah, and then just a follow up on the regulars and what they're up to. Of course, we have Jasmine and Juno. I'm just gonna start off with the classics. So basically, after my last video, not too much has happened with them after the divorce thing. Juno was made aware that, I don't know if I mentioned it the last time, that she was talking to her ex. And then that was kind of that. Like, he was just kind of like, oh, is she cheating on me? And then they just kind of dropped that, which is whatever. And then they went to couples therapy together, which I was like, you know what? That's great. Like, they should do that and get everything out in the open, because with the both of them, they don't know how to. Well, Juno definitely don't communicate nothing, and it literally just rubs me the wrong way, because he'll purposely like not say anything, like absolutely nothing. And it's like, you could have avoided this whole argument if you would just have said, like, the cutting vegetable situation. Like, if he would have just been like, hey, like, I don't know how to do this. Like, I'm not comfortable trying to figure it out, so I'd rather not do it. Like, instead of doing all that, he's like, I'm not doing it, bye. Oh. Anyway, so they went to couples therapy, and in couples therapy, they both talked about their insecurities, and basically it was like kind of a mess, because well, Juno just said like the same stuff. He was like, oh, worried financially. She doesn't realize like my financial worries and my struggle with intimacy because of my worries. And okay.
We never had sex. Like, we've been dating for 2 years and a half, and we have only been together, like, have intercourse 7 times.
And just stuff like that. And then he kept saying like, she needs to work on that.
If you want better intimacy, we have to stop arguing every day. You have to
Here are the
stop putting me
rules.
down for the.
Let me interrupt here so that we can go a little deep here. Gino, so you're giving conditions that I understand that you need, but you might get her best self by, bonding with her intimately. You know what I'm saying?
And the therapist was like, no, honey, like, we all need to work on something. Like, stop putting that on her. Think about yourself and what you need to work on. And I was just like, yes. Because, like, he constantly does that, and it bugs the shit out of me. He's like, you need to work on that. You need to stop doing this. You. Like, it's like, what can you do? So, yeah, the therapist pointed that out. And then I felt really bad, because then Jasmine was also saying how, like, like, Juno makes her feel so ugly and unwanted.
Physically, you felt rejected. And you
ugly.
say, like,
Not wanted, not good enough, ugly. I have my whole life dealt with insecurities issues, because I have like abandonment issues from my dad, which walked away when I was 3 years old. And I don't take rejection
easily.
No, I don't take I'm sorry, like, I don't take rejection easily. And you made me feel rejected, and you made me feel ugly.
and like undesirable because of how he acts towards her and like their intimacy and stuff like that. And I was like, you know, that's really sad. Like, and then he just kind of sat there like looking like a fucking he just looked like a lost but yeah. And so the therapist determined that they have so many bad memories that they're just collecting and harvesting them basically. And so she's like, you guys need to make new memories, good memories, enjoy your time together, because she's like, you guys have been together for 2 years and you have like so many bad memories. Like, she's like, you guys need to have more fun together and learn how to enjoy each other instead of being so angry at each other, because that's just, you're just gonna resent each other. And so they were like, okay, sounds good. And then it happened to be Jasmine's sister Liz, her birthday. And so they went to the jewelry store. And I was like, okay, like cute. And Jasmine was like, yeah, like I need to get her something nice because she keeps putting up with me and Juno's arguing. I was like, yeah, that seems about right. And so they went to the jewelry store and got her a really nice necklace. Like, it was really pretty. And then they, in the middle of them looking for a gift for her, Jasmine was like, hey, I want to look at rings. Which, like, you know, if I was Juno, I'd be like, okay, we can look, but we're not going to buy one today. But, like, Juno was like, you don't need that. You don't need to look at that. Like, oh, my money, like, financial worth. Like, he just started, like, going off. And then, like, Jasmine was just like, well, I want to, like, look at rings. I need a ring, like, a new ring. Because I guess Juno just got her, like, this really cheaper, unpleasant looking ring. And so she was just like, I just wanted to have a new ring. And then it just started a whole new argument. And I was like, oh, y'all just left the therapist's office. Like, why?
But I don't want to wait 13 months. I do believe that we should get a lawyer.
No.
Why is it?
I forgot to mention this. See, this is why I'm happy I have the clips. Yeah. Basically, they got into 2 squabbles. One was about the ring and another was about the immigration because Jasmine felt the immigration was taking too long.
I don't need a lawyer.
Because I have waited a lot.
We haven't hit the timing yet.
Forget
That's
about
what.
the timing. 12 months
Okay.
is more than enough.
Tell you what, you give me the money for the lawyer and I'll get
I
one. How does
know
that sound?
that it was all about the money.
Okay.
You don't
It is
want
about the money. Yeah, I'm not going to waste money. Do you waste money?
So am I a waste of money?
And so, yeah, then they were angry and fighting at each other. And then they took out Jasmine's sister Liz to ride on a bike, one of those like city bikes, just to have fun, I guess. Like, Juno thought it would be a fun idea. And like they're teasing Juno like the whole time and just like having fun. They're actually having fun. And I was like, oh, okay, nice. And then it turns out that Juno did actually get her a ring. He gave it to her once they were having fun with Liz and he was going to get them ice cream. He gave her her gift and gave Liz her gift, and they were both very pleased. So it was a cute little moment finally between them. And then after that, they decided to make more good memories. So they traveled off to, I believe Jasmine said, the city that was close to their engagement spot. And so then they went there and they had, I think as soon as they got there, they didn't really do anything. They just went to their hotel. And that's when they got a little weird. like on the camera, like I don't know why they filmed this. Honest to God, like TLC, like your cameraman must be getting paid like thousands per hour, because like how are they sitting there when all this is happening? I don't know. But they started to just goof around. Like I don't even know, like Jasmine was wearing lingerie and she got like BDSM toys out, and they were just like, I don't know, like Jasmine had a gag on and Gino was like slapping her on the bum with like some whip. I don't know, like it was like really odd, and she was just like, oh, like let's try some new stuff, let's spice it up, blah blah blah. And then she revealed something very unsettling.
Buenos dias.
Buenos
Ew.
dias, baby.
Wasn't it comfortable sleeping in this super comfortable bed last night? So amazing.
It was super awesome. And it makes me so happy, baby, that you ejaculate for the very first time. I'm in shock.
Oh.
Like truly amazing. I was starting to doubt that it would ever be possible for Gino to by having sex with me. Only masturbation. But last night, we tried things that I never thought. Like he made me to pee on his chest. I gave him the golden shower. Gino was like this on the jacuzzi, and he was like, give it to me, baby. And when he said it, I was like a dog, just, with my leg like this, peeing on him. Ready, baby.
Oh wow.
It's such a romantic experience. Like, oh.
Very. Like they did actually have a pleasant, little session together. But it really disturbed me that, well, I shouldn't say disturbed. I was just thrown off because she said that she gave him a golden shower. And he was like loving it. And then I thought in my head, I was like, that makes sense, because I feel like that was the issue the whole time. And he just didn't want to say anything. Like, I feel like he just has other interests besides what him and Jasmine were doing. And he just didn't want to be like a freak. That is my theory anyways, but that happened. And then they had a pleasant day of horseback riding. So yeah, that's pretty much all they've been up to. Cleo and Christian. There's only 2 people like I really, really, really don't like amidst the couples, and then there's one couple I despise. Christian I don't like. Christian gives off such red flags and bad vibes that every time I see him, it just makes me itch. Like, this man is like, he just screams bad intentions, and it's really starting to show that my intuition was correct. Him and Cleo, they had a rocky start to begin with, because I think they didn't even meet when I did my first recap, but they met at the airport, and it was awkward, but fine, whatever. Like, most of the interactions on this show are awkward. Like, you can't really expect to hit it off the bat every single time.
I maybe wanted another drink, but I asked and they cut me off, so that's where we're at, halfway
Good.
across the Atlantic.
Why do you need to be drunk on the plane?
I'm on to my 3rd bloody nose of the flight. Something about the dry air, I don't know.
Today, Christian is arriving in London. I literally cannot believe this. I have to, check that this is real. I have to pinch myself. I look at myself in the mirror.
Ew.
I feel that I've nailed it. I'm looking cute. Bye, girls. I'll see you soon.
Just look at him. Oh, sorry. That's me, but like... He just looked like you up to no good.
Like, no chemistry at all. Cleo is the first trans woman that I've dated, and it's a lot, and I'm a little overwhelmed.
A song? So dramatic.
Hey, babe.
Hey.
It's me.
How are you?
I'm good.
For real?
That was gonna happen.
Yeah. Well,
How are you feeling?
I'm just glad I've finally seen you.
Sorry if I'm super tall today.
No, it's fine. The taller they are, the higher I climb.
I'm standing next to Christian, who's come to see me. It's so cute. Like, oh my God, it's totally out of my league.
Wow. Thank you. That's really sweet of
Sorry,
you to
I'm
say,
too
babe.
cheeky. It's true.
It's not. It's absolutely not. But he already started to like distance himself a bit. And the only reason I say that is because he was like automatically telling Cleo he didn't want to like show affection in public. Weird. And then when they got to the Airbnb, like Cleo had her cats there, which I was like, oh, cute, like, and when she was like showing Christian her cats, and she was like, oh, like, this is your new daddy, like, just like, pet owners know, like, it's just like, oh, like, you're the parent, like, your mom, like, oh, this is potentially your new dad, like, and he was just like, no, don't call me that. And then she was like, oh, okay, like, then what are you, like? And he said he's just the uncle.
Girls, I brought you your daddy. Are you excited?
Yeah, they look fun.
Do you want to give them some treats?
Yeah. Oh, that'd be a great idea. Let's see. Where are they here? Hey, you. Yeah, you. No, not yet.
Shy
No.
girl.
That's okay. I'm more of a dog person. I might not be their daddy yet. Might take some time.
But what would you be in the meantime?
Call me Uncle Christian.
Uncle Christian. Okay, cool. That would mean that we're like cousins or something, or brother and sister.
No, I'm just the family friend.
Okay, but it's still weird. Like, you're still their daddy.
Not yet. We're not even married yet.
I'm like, dude, that's so fucking weird. Like, what do you mean, the uncle? Like, what is she, your sister? Like, that's so weird. And even like Cleo said, like, so what, are we like cousins or something? Like, that's... It just didn't make sense, and she was just trying to be playful, so I was like, dude, you're weird. So then that night, like, I don't even think they were up together for that long. Like, he automatically was just like, okay, I'm going to bed. And they just went to bed. Nothing really happened. And the next day they went on their first date. And so their first date was weird. Like, the first spot they went to was really cute. It was like a little diner on the pier, or a little just cafe or something on the pier. And so they were just sitting, drinking, just talking one-on-one, like an actual date, like, And then she was even saying, like, I love this spot. It's so intimate, so one-on-one, like, so peaceful. It's not loud. It's like, I can really just, like, enjoy and focus on what we're doing. And then for some reason, Christian's like, hey, let's get up and go. Go where? Like, he was saying, like, oh, I want to see you in, like, a more, I don't know, what did he say? Like, party environment or some shit. And so they left that peaceful, intimate spot and went to this loud, obnoxious dive bar, basically.
Excuse me, are you guys like celebrating something tonight? It's my friend's birthday. Your birthday? 26? Awesome. Is this like a local spot of y'all's?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Where are you?
I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota, so Midwest. I'm a very Midwestern boy. When it comes to like meeting American people, you guys have this kind of stereotype of like a cowboy hat and cowboy boots, like Southerners. Like,
You don't sound like that at all.
this is Cleo. This is my girlfriend Cleo. Yeah, particular scotches that you could recommend.
You've got no idea.
Okay.
I feel like it's like too many people for me to interact at the same time. I just need to go back home.
I got you. I totally got you. Well, all right, my friends. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Have a good night, ladies.
Thanks. Have a good day.
Have a great night.
They also weren't even sitting at like a table. I just noticed that. Like, I thought they were. It's literally just like a little nightstand and 2 random chairs. All right.
Have a great night. Nice to meet you.
I am exhausted. There's a time and place for everything, and right now it's about making each other feel special, not inviting other people into the conversation.
Okay, I'm just gonna finish this up.
Bro loves his drinks.
If today's date was an example of how every single date between Christian and I is to go, I don't necessarily think that this is the type of relationship I would want to be in.
You got everything? Okay.
And even for myself, I was like, I would not go to this place for a first date. Like, it is loud, it's a lot. Like, there's a lot going on. Even the decorations, it was like messy, like it was a lot. And like, you can just see on Cleo's face, she's so overwhelmed. She's like, yeah, it's really loud in here. Like, just like really taken aback by the place that he picked. And then, like, you know, Christian was under the impression, like, hey, like, we'll just get a few drinks in you and, like, you know, you'll loosen up a bit. Like, sir, you can't loosen up autism. Like, are you dense? Like, what? Let's just get you even more drunker and even more, like, stimulated under the influence. Like, that doesn't make any sense, sir. That was kind of it. And then the next day, they had, like, a little date, like, to make up for that terrible night. They went to the market and had like a cute little day and got some like fish and chip grub, and then they talked about just how that night went, and Christian apologized, but you could tell it was like, I don't know, not that it wasn't sincere, but it was just kind of like, you could tell he didn't fully understand what he was apologizing for, you know. And then Cleo was just explaining she wanted a more intimate date. And so then Christian, if this felt like an advertisement, I don't know if anybody else felt this way, but it literally felt like they were paid to do this part. I feel like I was trying to be sold a VR set. It felt staged and like scripted, and it's TLC, it might have been, and that's fine and dandy, but like I was thrown off because Christian was like, oh yeah, like Cleo said she wanted a more intimate date, good thing I brought my VR set. And it was like, all right, bud, like, cool. And so they were playing VR, and Cleo loved it. She's a gamer, and, you know, it was a good, fun night. And they were drinking, I believe, but I'm not too sure. I don't really remember. And then all of a sudden, like, because they were talking about intimacy, like, a little bit, and then Christian was saying he's not the guy to make the first move, which really threw Cleo and myself off, because how are you gonna say you're not the guy to make the first move, but you go up and approach women all the time on a quote-unquote friendly basis? Like, that doesn't make any sense at all. Like, don't know. That just didn't add up really.
That's definitely my idea of fun. You know, just a night in, good company, and playing video games.
And a bottle of wine.
Yeah, made up for yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like this is like a weird question. I mean, I think we're both obviously attracted to each other. I have a feeling that I might be wrong, but...
No, you're right. You're totally right. But also, I don't mind, like, the fact that we're just, like, hanging out and still getting to know each other in person.
Yeah, same. And obviously, it's good to know that I guess we're both, you know, attracted to each other.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I don't want you to think that, like, I'm less attracted to you because I haven't tried to, like, initiate anything intimate. Typically, I'm kind of the guy who waits for the girl to make the first move, like...
Oh, well, that was not... Because I never make the first move.
Okay, all right. I get that. Like, I totally get that. But at the same time, it's like, I kind of like to feel wanted. And, you know, like, if I go in for a kiss and a girl, like, denies it, like, I feel, like, really crushed.
And since the beginning of our, you know, talking to each other, Christian has always been very forward and, you know, flirtatious. For him to now say that he is somebody who likes to wait for women to make the first move, I don't buy it.
The next day, Cleo met up with her friend and was telling her that they were intimate that night. And she was just expressing how, like, she felt it was a good experience and, like, you know, she feels more connected, this and that. And then the producers, like, were asking Christian back at the Airbnb. And Christian was like, no, we weren't intimate. Like, we just kissed a little bit.
You guys have sex?
No. Hey, we hit a couple of bases. You could say we got a double. Yeah. No home run. We're kind of working our way up to that.
And, like, that's it. And the producers were like, are you sure? Like, that's all you did? And he was like, yep, that's it. They were texting throughout the day because Cleo had to leave to do a exam for her university studies. And Christian just asked her, like, randomly, like, oh, did you tell anybody that we were intimate? I think because the producers asked. And she was like, yeah. What does it matter? And then he was just on acting sideways about it. And so then she was telling her friend this in the car because her friend was like, okay, well, we need to go back to the Airbnb and talk about this because if something's going on, like, you need to address it right away. And if you need help, like, I'll support you, but we need to go back to the Airbnb.
I let myself be vulnerable with Christian last night, so for him to go on and lie about our intimacy today feels extremely confusing and upsetting, and I feel like I've been manipulated. There has been some gaslighting. Maybe he doesn't want people or his family to be able to know that he has been intimate with a trans woman because he doesn't want to hear their opinions.
And so this unhatched, like, this whole new, like, oh, is it because I'm trans? Like what's going on? Like, why would he lie? Like, and I already had a feeling that this was gonna happen to begin with because his family and friends, man, like, they literally, it seemed like he had a whole different mindset, and then they got into his head and totally, like, ripped him apart, like, mentally, because, like, now he's just like, oh, like, can't be with her because she's trans. Like, dude, who cares? Who the fuck cares? Like, are you happy? Yes, no, like, that's all that fucking matters. But now it's all stupid and weird, and I knew this was gonna happen. It just, like, breaks my heart because, like, Cleo on one side was like, yeah, I'm so happy, like, I feel so connected, and then he's just out here lying because he's embarrassed. Like, I don't know. the update on David and Sheila. David and Sheila, I don't think I fully introduced them, but David is the deaf gentleman who is meeting his partner who is in the Philippines named Sheila. I'm not sure of their ages, but they are 30 plus. Like, they're a bit older. Everything was going good with them, honestly. There wasn't too much going on. The only thing that really like happened was David hired an interpreter for signing because Sheila understands signing, but she's not that great with it, which is fine. Like, you know. So he hired an interpreter who can also speak Tagalog. And so she can translate easily from like English, Tagalog, signing, like she does it all. She's honestly like a gem because there was a lot of miscommunication going on. And then Sheila got jealous a little bit because she can sign. She seems to get really jealous when like other people can sign and she can't. It was really interesting when David went to Sheila's house because her house is destroyed. And I'm not saying that to be funny. Like, it was destroyed by like a typhoon or something that they had in the Philippines, and they just never had the money to fix it. But I mean, like, it's bad. Like sleeping on the ground with like a blanket on cement ground, bad. Like, it's a lot of damage, and like it's like out in the open, like there's no roof, there's no doors, you're just kind of like walking. I didn't even know they were in her house. I thought they were in a garage. Yeah, and then David met her family and it seemed to went pretty well. And then literally the next day, I'm not exaggerating, the next absolute day, her mother had gotten up in the middle of the night. Her parents are very elderly. Like, I don't think her dad can see too well, and her mother has like extreme hearing problems. Like, they're old, they're elderly. And yeah, her mother got up in the middle of the night and went, I don't know what she was doing specifically, but she went to go down their stairs, and I guess she had fell. And unfortunately, the fall was pretty fatal. She passed away. Definitely not expected. Like, that was really, I was like thrown off and surprised that happened. I had assumed she had just naturally passed, but when Sheila was saying that, I was like, oh, like, that's intense. There wasn't really anything besides that. Like, the whole episode was just kind of for them, just that. And she was just saying how they traditionally do like funerals in their culture, just like having to stay with the body for 24 hours for good luck, how the funeral goes, just like stuff like that. It was, and David kind of just popped in and out, like gave her space. So it wasn't like anything extreme, but yeah, I thought that was really intense. And then for Riley and Violet, honestly, I'm not too keen on them. Like, they're both just really toxic, and well, they have the very same mindset, which is like interesting, but they're both very toxic. And it's like every time there's like a little glimmer of hope, one of them just messes it up, like jokingly saying like that he's ugly, and then he got all mad about it, and then they talked it out and he explained why he found it offensive. She's like, okay, cool, won't do that again. Then they were shopping around for presents, I believe. And then they went to go see Violet's family. And Violet's mother was like so upset because he didn't bring her a present, but he brought her daughters multiple presents. And she was saying like, oh, like in our culture, like that's rude. So like, and then he was like, I think he even said to Violet, like, well, why didn't you tell me, like, I should have got her a present at the market? And, you know, Violet was like, well, it's not my fault, and blah, blah, blah. Like, so they went out to dinner, and it was nice, and it went fine. And then all of a sudden, like, Riley brought up his friend, who's, like, his sister, and, you know, he was like, oh, do you want to talk to her right now? Like, okay, whatever. So he calls his friend, and her and Violet are talking, and it's all fine. But then she starts attacking her about, oh, why didn't you delete your dating app when he asked you to? Like, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? That's a little sketchy to me. And she was just attacking her. And like, I could tell that Violet was like taken back, and she didn't want to say anything because this was supposed to be a night they're not supposed to bring up old stuff. Like, it was supposed to be no arguing, no nothing. You just leave it at the table. It's done. So she just kind of looked confused. Like, why is this random woman asking me all this stuff when, like, she's not even family? Like, she's his friend. So she was just looking like right confused. And Riley was just like, answer her. Like, why are you looking at me? Answer her. When I tell you, when Violet walked up, I was like, yep. Like, I would have done the exact same. You're not going to sit here and attack me with your little friend. No, thank you. Like, that's not what we're going to do here at the ripe age of 50. Like, are you kidding me? No, thank you. So, yeah, and then they were both talking to people about it in the last episode I saw, and I don't know. Both of the people were just like, you guys need to just apologize to each other and work it out. And so, I'm just waiting to see how that goes, really. But, like, I don't know. I can't really see this working out too well. And honestly, like, whenever they come on the screen, I'm just like, what is it going to be now? They're honestly, like, I can't stand Amanda. It seems like I'm always like, I can't stand this. But literally, Amanda and Christian are like, they're unwell. Like, something's wrong with them. Well, not much that I've seen has been happening besides they went to one of Razvan's friends' beach parties, or pool parties, excuse me. And, you know, it was like, whatever. It was like a little chill thing. And then they were just kind of like, you know, she showed up and she didn't have like a bathing suit or anything on. Like, everybody else was like, you know, in their bathing suits. Like, it's a pool party. And, you know, she was going on in her interview. She was like, oh my God, like, Razvan's friend is wearing a thong. Like, what is wrong with her? It's like, girl, it's a pool party. Like, if she want to wear a thong at her own pool party, she can wear a thong. Razvan's friend was like, oh, like, why aren't you wearing beach clothes? Like, it's a pool party. Like, don't you have like a bathing suit or anything? And Razvan was just saying like, oh, it's her time of the month, so she doesn't like want to swim. Which I also found weird because that doesn't affect swimming. Like, I found that really, really weird. Because, like, I don't know, it seems like she's using that as an excuse, like, this whole trip. Like, I get the intimacy thing, like, when he was, like, you know, she was like, I'm on my period. That makes sense. But swimming? Like, that, you're okay, babe. You can get in the pool. Like, you're not gonna sit there and bleed out. Like, you're fine. I don't know. It was weird. And then she was all embarrassed because she was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he told all these people that I'm on my period. It's like, girl, who cares? It was literally like 3 or 4 women and 1 guy. Like, who cares? And then they were all sitting around the table talking, like, kicking and having a good time. And every time that Razvan said something, Amanda was like cutting eyes at him, like slicing him apart, literally. And his friend kept looking at her like, the fuck is going on? So she was like, hey babe, like, let's go talk, like, let's go have a little chat. And I'm so glad she said something, because I was thinking the same thing. His friend was like, look, like, I don't know what's going on here, but like, the way you are looking at him, like, you're looking at him like you want to kill him. And she was like, what? Like, no, I'm not. Like, I love him. And she was like, well, act like it. Like, she was saying, you guys been together for like, what, only a few months? Like, you guys should be all over each other. Meanwhile, you're sitting there like cutting eyes at him. Like, it doesn't seem like love to me. I'm pretty sure is what she actually said. And then of course Amanda was like, like, his friend has known me for 2 seconds and she's already criticizing our relationship, like, and then insinuated that there was something going on between the two of them, which is like such a tiring narrative. Like, I really wish she would just shut up. Like, obviously this girl does not want Razvan, or she would have had him by now. They're friends. Like, I don't know. It is so tiring. Like, I'm so tired of her. Okay. And the last couple I want to talk about is the second, I think. The second lesbian couple of 90 Day Fiancé. I might be wrong. But the second that I know of. And that would be Statler, who's 33, from Irving, Texas, going to meet Dempsey, who's 28, from Darlington, England. And I'm not gonna lie, their relationship is so awkward. Sometimes it like makes me cringe just how awkward they are, not in a bad way, but it's just like secondhand cringe, I guess, just because they're so just naturally awkward. But so far it's been interesting, because even in just like the first introduction with Statler, there was a lot going on. Like, she was like, I have ADHD, I can't sit still, like like she was just going off. And then also she had a mad stack of frozen dinners in her fucking fridge. I have to point that out, because when I first saw that scene, I was like, there's no way she actually has that many frozen dinners in her fridge as a singly living person. But she did. And it turns out that this is actually the second time the exact situation happened to Statler, where she met an English girl online and went to go see them and planned to move there with them and live with them. And it seems like she just wants to live in England. So not too much has happened. She went to England. I think she was like a little sick, like she just caught like a traveling bug or something. But then she was like fine enough where she could meet Dempsey. They met.
We have had our first kiss, and it was not great. It was really awkward.
It was so awkward.
Yeah, I think I got teeth mostly because you were smiling and laughing so hard. We got better at it.
Yeah. And then once we got good at kissing,
What did you do? Did you guys have sex?
we had sex.
Yeah. That kind of a butt will turn you religious. Want to have an altar that I set up and worship it. Just have photos dedicated to just it. Oh, and your you like heaven. It must be your vegan diet. Because I don't think I've ever been with a vegan. That's the advertisement vegans need. So you want your person to 24/7? Boy, do I have a food thing for you to try. Veganism.
And then they went back to Dempsey's, what did they call it? I don't know, like her little cottage. I don't know what it's called. But they went back there, and it's literally just like a little cottage, like in the middle of a farm. Because I guess she lives where she works, which is on a farm. And so it's not like a big space. It's literally just like a little place in the middle of the woods, like exactly what you would expect. Like there's no working toilets. I think she said she was still getting the plumbing fixed for her toilet to actually work. So there was like an outhouse. There's like really tight quarters because it's like a little cottage. Like there's really not much going on in it. And like Statler was just like, she just couldn't fathom it. She was like, oh my god, I don't know if I can live here. Like it's so small. Like, oh my gosh, there's no toilet. Like she was having a full-on fit, and it's like, girl, you'll live. Like you're fine. For some reason, Statler told her dad about how she was planning to move in with Dempsey. And then her dad like pulled her aside and was like, hey, don't rush things.
We both liked each other on the app, and then we just started talking and, you know, getting kind of like emotional and deep about things. And of course, I want to meet her in person. So okay. I'm here, and, you know, things are even better in person, I feel.
Statler's quite an awkward person.
I'm quite an awkward person,
oh, yeah.
yes. Yeah, yeah. Ooh.
Have you been to England before?
Yeah, I've,
Not to see me. Statler
I've
has a thing for English girls.
What about your previous relationship with the Brit?
You know, we talked for a couple months first before I came over, and I was gonna move to England because I was, you know, in love. But she said, you know, that's too fast for her, so at that point she just kind of ended the relationship. And
so have you any plans to, are you diving in head first?
my lease is up back home pretty much like a month after I come back. So Dempsey and I haven't really talked about it, but might be something I'm considering, moving over here and moving in with her. I know it's pretty fast.
Yeah, pretty fast.
At the English girl that Statler had met before in England, she's still in contact with her. And even when, for some reason, she told her that she was going to England, and then her ex was like, hey, do you want to meet at the airport? Like, a little weird.
I mean, why though? Like, what's the point? When I'm in, I'm all in, you know, 100%. I can't really understand why Dempsey doesn't want me to move in with her. She's okay with me.
Like, girl, you've been talking for 7 months. Like, I would say the same thing. Like, what is she talking about?
Move.
Do you think that we have a lot to learn about each other? Like, I did not know that you had cheated until a few days ago. Like, I don't care how long ago it was. It's something that you did. And I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
Asked you what happened with your ex, like, is there anything between you guys?
There's nothing between us.
But have you spoken to her?
I mean, yeah, we talked. Yeah, we talked. Like, she.
When?
I talked to her like a month ago.
Why were you speaking to her a month ago? When you come in here to see me, did you want to see her?
Oh.
I'm not hiding anything from you.
But you've not been... I don't know.
I told her that I was coming to meet my new girlfriend.
And then...
At that point, she asked if, like, she could pick me up from the airport and stay in a hotel together, just get closure.
Oh my God. Closure?
I'd be fuming. I don't know how she didn't get up and just... Bro, I'd be fuming if somebody told me that and then had the audacity to ask to move into my house minutes before. Oh no.
For what?
I don't know.
I'm thinking of all the things that's happened in this time. Finding out she cheated, finding out she'd been speaking to her ex. I feel like I don't even know her as well as I thought I did. I feel a little bit sick right now. I'm not so sure I could trust Statler. And without trust, what's the point?
Besides that, I think that's been the only like drama between them is like just trust issues. Like Statler for some reason thinks like constantly that Dempsey's talking to somebody else, but she's still talking to her ex. Like, I don't know. That's kind of the only thing I can think of. And then the rushing things, like, it's a lot. But that is it. That's the update on all the couples that I have so far. The new episode does drop tomorrow, so I might have more to say. But, you know, we'll see. We'll see.